Hello friends, it's Mrs. Pickett. I feel like we haven't had a video in a long time, so I'm gonna have to brush up on my video making skills, and hopefully you're excited to start a brand new unit for us in 3rd grade. And I'm very excited because I think for some of you, you haven't had a lot of experience with multiplication yet. Some of you probably have. But this is going to be just a quick video on a couple different strategies you can use to solve multiplication problems. So let's just go ahead and jump in. So you're going to see there are 3 different statements on here that kind of tell you what your video is going to be about. The first one is going to be, we're going to talk about the different parts in a multiplication problem and what they're called. And then I'm going to show you how to multiply using the regrouping method and the equal groups. So you're going to walk away with 2 different ways to solve a multiplication problem today after this video. So just like with addition and subtraction, multiplication has words that we use for the different parts of that multiplication problem. So our first 2 numbers that we actually multiply together, these are called our factors. And what helps me remember their factors is because you see that word fact inside of it, and I know that when I know my multiplication facts, I'm combining 2 numbers. And so, excuse me, we have a factor, and then the answer to a multiplication problem is called your product. It's what you get when you're finished. It's your product. That's kind of how I remember it. And then finally, the last thing I want to share with you guys or show you is your multiplication symbol. Usually, adults and people say that you would read this problem as 6 times 3 equals 18. And that's how we learned how to multiply. But we've actually changed the way that is read. And people or our 3rd graders, mathematicians now say groups of. So you might hear us say times. You might hear people say, you might say 6 times 3 equals 18. But I would like us to try to use 6 groups of 3 equals 18 because that's the more mathematically correct way to do it in the classroom. So we're going to say 6 groups of 3 equals. Okay, so now let's talk about the first strategy in multiplication, and that's called equal groups, where you're going to actually draw a picture to represent your problem. So right now, our problem is 4 groups of 3. So I have the factors of 4 and 3. So 4 groups of 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a picture. And let's say that I've got 4 kids. Then I want to give each kid 3 pieces of candy. So I have 4 kids and I need to give them 3 pieces of candy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my pictures of my kids. So here's my kids. And I have 4 groups, 4 kids, and I'm going to give each kid 3 pieces of candy. So as you can see, I have 4 kids, and each kid got 3 pieces of candy. So now all I have to do is count the candy. You can count by 3s, or you can count by 1s, whichever you choose. I'm going to count by 3s. So I'm going to say 3, 6, 9, and 12. So my answer of 4 groups of 3 is 12. So now let's do another problem. 6 groups of 2. I have 6 groups of 2. Now this time, instead of drawing a really fancy picture with cute kids and cute pieces of candy, I'm going to show you a really fast way to do this in class when you want to find the answer really quickly. So again, I have 6 groups. So if I have 6 groups, I'm going to draw 6 circles. You're going to want to remember that typically the very first number is the number of circles or the number of pictures you're going to draw. Because if you hear it, it says 6 groups of. So you have to make sure you have 6 circles or 6 kids, whatever you might be using. And I have 6 groups of 2. So now all I have to do is draw a tallies, 2 tallies in each group. So if I counted by 2s, I would say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So 6 groups of 2 equals 12. So my product for this question would be 12. Also, remember, if you're having a hard time counting by 2s or counting by 4s or counting by 6s, you can always count each individual tally. So you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you will still get the same answer. Just counting like that in multiples of 2 or 4 or 6 is going to be a little bit faster. The next method I'd like to share with you today is, excuse me, is the repeated addition method. And this is where you're going to use your strategy of adding to help you solve a multiplication problem, because addition and multiplication really work hand in hand with each other. So let's say I have the problem 8 groups of 3. 8 groups of 3. And I want to know what the product is. So with repeated addition, you take the multiplication problem and turn it into an addition problem, just as it says, and you're repeating a number. So if I have 8 groups of 3, I'm going to write 3 8 times. So with repeated addition, you always put the second number is the number that you add, and the first number is the amount of times you add it. I'll say that again. The second number is the number you actually write, and the first number is the number that the number of times you write the 3. So then you just add. We say 3 plus 3 is 6, and 3 plus 3 is 6, and 3 plus 3 is 6, and 3 plus 3 is 6. You have 6 plus 6 is 12. 6 plus 6 is 12, and then you put the 12 and the 12 together to get 24. Okay, let's do another example using repeated addition again. So this time let's do 5 groups of 4. So my two factors are 5 and 4, and I want to figure out what my product's going to be using repeated addition. So remember, the second number is the number we write, and we write it this many times. So I'm going to write 4 5 times because I have 5 groups of 4. And now all you have to do is add. I've got 4 and 4 is 8. 4 and 4 is 8 again. And then another 4. I combine the 8 and 8 to get 16. And then I have 16 plus 4 is 20. So my product would be 20. So now I'm going to quickly show you one problem in solving that same problem in the two different ways, in the equal groups way and in the repeated addition. So my problem is going to be 3 groups of 4. So if I was going to do that with my equal groups, I would draw 3 groups of 4. 3 groups of 4. And then I would count 4, 8, and 12. Now if I was going to use repeated addition, remember I write the 4 3 times. So I have 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12. So you're going to notice the product stays the same in both problems. And the way that you solve is kind of similar because the picture looks like the addition problem because we're adding 4 plus 4 plus 4. So I just kind of wanted to show you that while both ways are great ways to solve, they look very different but similar at the same time. So really, like always, you're going to get several different strategies to use. And these are going to be great, especially when you get to the harder multiplication problems that you don't already know the answers to. You have a backup. You could draw your equal groups, or you could do your repeated addition. And then in our next video, I'm going to show you 2 more strategies to use. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you learned something new. And your riddle today is more of a riddle question than is a joke. Railroad crossing, railroad cars. Bet you can't spell that without any R's. So see if you can figure out that riddle. Railroad crossing, watch out for the cars. Bet you can't spell that without any R's. See you at school.